to have this meeting. Thank you and welcome to the special meeting of the Salina City Commission. This is Monday, January 13th, 2020. I'd like to ascertain that the Kansas Open Meeting Act required notice has been properly provided.
Yes.
Thank you. Call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call.
Mayor Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Hay.
Here.
Commissioner Hodges.
Here.
Commissioner Hoppick.
Here.
Commissioner Ryan.
If you are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will move directly into the administration.
How long do you anticipate we'll need?
Let's try 45 minutes to start. I don't want to leave you in there too long if we wrap up quickly.
I move the City Commission recess into executive session for 45 minutes to discuss with environmental counsel for the Salina public entities and the city's legal counsel the subject of confidential mediation with representatives of the U.S. Department of Justice and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers associated with pending litigation in U.S. District Court relating to the former Schilling Air Force Base environmental matter based upon the need for consultation with an attorney for the public body, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship pursuant to KSA 45-7319B2. The open meeting will resume in this room at 2:18 p.m.
That's right.
Wow.
I should have been paying attention.
About the last time I make it, my math works, 2:18 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to recess into executive session to discuss with counsel reasons as listed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0, and the record reflected Commissioner Ryan is present. Thank you.
Mayor and Commissioners, 2 housekeeping items. One, we don't expect any action coming out of this executive session. And then second, we do have some people that will be joining us based on their subject matter expertise. Tim Rogers from the Airport Authority, Martha Tasker, our Utilities Director, Doug Curran, our special legal counsel on this topic, and then conference calling in will be Matt Schrader with Dragon Corporation, who is our environmental technical experts.
Thank you. Okay, we're in executive session.
Leave you hanging.
No, no. We're good to go.
All right, calling the meeting back into regular session, and if there is a motion, there is perhaps a need for additional discussion.
I move the City Commission recess into executive session for 20 minutes. When I read this for an extension, do I read the entire motion, or can I just say to extend for the same reason?
It'd probably be better to do the entire motion.
Okay. I move the City Commission recess into executive session for 20 minutes to discuss with environmental counsel for the Salina public entities and the city's legal counsel the subject of confidential mediation with representatives of the U.S. Department of Justice and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers associated with pending litigation in U.S. District Court relating to the former Schilling Air Force Base environmental matter based upon the need for consultation with an attorney for the public body, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship pursuant to KSA 45-7319B2. The open meeting will resume in this room at 2:40 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to recess into executive session for 20 minutes for legal counsel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Once again, as clarification, no public action expected. We do have subject matter experts attending with us. Tim Rogers from the Airport Authority, Martha Tasker, Utilities Director, Doug Curran, legal counsel are all physically present. We have people on the phone on behalf of our law firm and our environmental counsel.
All right, call the meeting back into regular session and entertain a motion to recess into executive session for 20 minutes.
All right, and there was a request that that be preceded by a 5-minute break, 5-minute recess.
That can be done.
Is
We
that
have the
right?
time,
Okay.
yes.
All right. I move the city commission recess into executive session for 20 minutes to discuss the city manager's performance evaluation.
Oh. Yeah.
It's me? I'll change the phraseology in that old tune. It's me, oh Lord,
Isn't it?
standing in front of the commission. Yeah, I thought I guess the first 10 times you don't succeed, try another 10. Years ago, I took the Camp Chris McKee report that came of the last waste characterization study down at the landfill. Which, by the way, they and I are on different ends of the spectrum as far as putting organic matter in landfills and whatever. But I really admired the work, a lot of work done by city folk and volunteers, and the honesty they had, which a lot of statisticians don't, including that dang it, Hayes, which that's another story, but so ridiculous. But anyhow, and they weren't even polite about it. I'm not being told that I know that it's 5%, you've got 35, so there's a problem with your numbers. But anyway, they were very honest about the range of error, especially with smaller quantities. It can be huge, and what they're doing, there's not much you can do about it. Getting a fair sample of trash coming into the landfill, they did it as well as I think it could be done. But anyway, I took their numbers, and I realized that was 16 years ago now, and there have been real changes. I would make a comment that they're not as much as you might think, the changes, and without taking another waste characterization study, especially if we were still taking drop-off material on 4th Street, just by seeing how much we're shipping out, we get a pretty good idea if our clientele hasn't changed that much of shifts in the mix. And a further point I would make, with a substantial kind of background, both genetic and from experience, when you worked for Kennedy and Code, the book's balanced, or you didn't go home till they did. And that's fine, because precision makes sense there. With what we throw away, in almost every case, if you're in the ballpark, you're good. And what do I mean by that? I apply a 50-200 range. If you come up with 100 and you say, but I'm confident it's somewhere between 50 and 200, a lot of people go, well, that's a huge range. Is it? Yes. But is it? No. If you're wondering, if you come up with that it's 5% of what goes in your landfill, and you say, well, it's somewhere between 2.5 and 10. And people say, okay, but 2.5 by 10 still does a real good job of keeping it in the ballpark. Would it be nice to have it precise? Sure. Is it worth spending millions of dollars and staying up late at night worrying? No, because the equipment you buy and develop won't be that different. You do want to refine it some, but if it were 50%, now you need a truck just for that item. If it's 0.5%, well, probably $1.
What's the single biggest thing that I
Pardon?
You know what the single, I'm asking that because I don't know the
Depends
answer.
how you categorize it. paper, in the broadest sense, is the largest, fairly broad category. But anyway, I was going to give this, if you agree, by the by, I from what I've seen and heard, is it co-watch? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. There's someone that asks good questions and listens and considers. Just to be blunt, a lot of folks just wait till you're done talking, thank you for your input, and go right back where they were going. And that drives me nuts. Arguing with me doesn't drive me nuts. It may seem to, but it doesn't. If we're honest, hey, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So, my dad was kind of sneaky. He would argue with people, especially salesmen, to see if they knew anything and see how much they knew and learn. If you win an argument, you haven't learned much. You were right, but you thought you were right to begin with. If you lose, you learn something. And yes, your pride gets hurt, but if you value learning over being right, and I do. So anyway, this is what I made up from their figures. This is basically their listing. And the categories are fine. It's just that, for instance, having 3 categories for glass, depending on color. Yeah, but when you're recycling it, well, fun. But I took that and put it in more normal, what we normally think, and you can see from the percentages. And then I indicated what, to the best of my knowledge, could be recycled, how much could be composted, how much you could use other things with, like reuse it in some fashion, and then what I refer to as unceremonial burial out at ye old landfill. And came up with about 90% that's recoverable, readily recoverable, which means, what do you need trash trucks for? You need a truck to put trash in, but you don't need a separate truck for trash. But everybody that I know of does. And it's because they come from the opposite end that I do. I came from the paper business, so I was concerned with actually recycling stuff, how it works. And in the 1960s and whatever, it was a disaster. Recycled paper wouldn't run, linted presses. So anyway, that's for you guys. And if you do it all, and interested in that. And at some point, I'll try to just rough out some numbers as to why these curbside program that the city set up, it was doomed to failure before it even began. And I pointed out why it was. And
Well, thanks, Kevin.
Okay.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Okay, sure.